Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio, EB Radio. EB Radio. Your station for empowerment presents Mom Boss Talk Radio, a show that brings real life, real moms, and real experiences to empower mom bosses everywhere to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. Mom Boss Talk Radio begins now.
Welcome back, Mom Bosses. It is another amazing episode this Thursday. I am very excited. I'm one of your hosts, Monyetta, and we're just going to jump into it. Jerisha, she'll be joining us in future episodes, okay? So, as you know, last episode, we talked about we are rebranding. We are changing. We are evolving. We are doing so many great things. And that kind of got me to thinking of providing some tips for being a successful entrepreneur. And you know, a girl love a good Pinterest, okay? So I get all the advice and tips and tricks off of there, okay? And that is not sponsored. Okay, they have great information over there. So if you're not familiar with Pinterest, I definitely advise for you to check it out. But we're going to dive into it. 12 tips for being a successful entrepreneur. Number 1, remembering your purpose. Okay, I think it's very important to know why you're doing things and just push forward with what you want, right? Remembering why you're doing it in the first place. It's very important to keep your mind and your eyes on the prize and don't deviate from what your plan is. Okay, don't let anyone, alter what you think. Remembering your purpose. And number 2, define your brand. As you know, we talked about rebranding and things of that nature, and we definitely wanted to define it a little more. We've grown, we've done so many great things, and with defining a brand, I think it just evolves. It always continues to evolve. It starts out small, grows, and ultimately it's going to change. It's going to change at some point. You're not going to stay in the same spot forever. But even though you're going to grow, even though you're going to evolve, you should always have it defined at no matter where you are, what level you are within your brand. So keep that in mind. Always have a definitive definition when it comes to your brand. Number 3, understand your audience. And I think a lot of people get lost with this. And I can say I have, fallen into not really understanding my market, my, who I would love to um, be my consumer. And we want to include everybody. We would love to include everybody within every realm are within our brand, but that's not possible because everybody's not going to like your things or like your service or like what you're doing. And some things are just not for everybody, and that is okay. There's people that tailor their services, their, whatever they're providing to their niche, I guess. For example, people who do art, everybody's not going to like the same type of art is subjective. And so people who love certain things are going to sell the things that they most likely love. And so they kind of build a community around that. So build yourself a community. So that's how I kind of think of it when I see understand your audience is build your community. People who are just as in love with the thing that you're doing as much as you are. So I think that is very important to build community versus looking at it as just a consumer type of situation. Build not family per se, but build a community. Number 4, just go for it. Okay. Stop overthinking. Stop thinking that you have to have everything perfect, because the longer you wait, nothing's going to be perfect. Things are shifting and changing constantly. And I think that's where I kind of feel is I was always overthinking. I'm an over analytical person. So I was always thinking and wanting to make sure everything was perfect. But guess what? It's not. and I jumped into it and I just learned, and I'm continuously learning as I go. So do not look at it as, I have to wait until this is right. I have to wait until this is right. Maybe some circumstances you may have to just wait a little longer, but for the most part, a lot of things, like we mentioned in past episodes, resources are out there. A lot of resources are free. And even if it's just you just doing the research, just in, just to have it when you do have the money, um, you do have everything that you need. So I think that's very important to just do it. Just jump out and start your process, um, without really overthinking too much. Even if it's just researching what you're doing, that's okay as long as you're getting started and you're going for it. That's very important. Number 5, teach others why they need you. Okay. I think having a lot of people have, certain issues or certain problems that they want solutions for. And that could be from, technology to fashion to, gaming. Like every industry, someone is going to have an issue that needs to be solved. So you are, you being an expert in your field or being extremely knowledgeable within your realm will definitely help people, and they will always gravitate to you, and they're going to always want to come back to you. So I think that's very important to know that, you're kind of a teacher, because whatever industry you're in, that industry, no matter what it is, you are providing a good or a service, and you've done your research on these goods or services. So it's your job, your responsibility to teach the people why you are, number one, that you're the number one person they should come to when it comes to whatever problems they have, right? So I think that's very important. Number 6 kind of does tie to number 5. Focus on the solutions. So when people do need you, like I said before, you're the expert. You are knowledgeable of the thing that you're doing. So what are you going to do? Focus on honing in on understanding what these individuals, your consumers, need. And even if you can't provide it, even if you yourself cannot provide it, are you let them know that you're trustworthy. Let them know that you are, that you're okay with referring them to someone who may know more, and that it's not just about money to you. Yes, it's important that we live and we have an income and we're building our empire, but at the same time, if you don't know something, don't pretend that you do. Okay. And if your solution is to refer them to someone else that knows way more on a certain topic, then do that. It is okay. And they're going to see how amazing you are, and that they're going to come to you for any other services, because it's like, hey, they didn't just lie to me. They didn't just use me. They knew I had a problem, and they're sending me somewhere that I can get the help. I think that's amazing. So do that. um, Number 7, design a great brand. And that is like, when it comes to designing a brand, it is so time consuming. Due to the fact that, like, you have a vision in your head. If you're not like an artist, like I'm not an artist by any means, so I can't draw what is in my head. I can tell you, I can try to explain it the best way I can, but ultimately, like, designing a great brand, you may have to get a team. But if you are very savvy, design savvy, you have to, you know, that kind of comes back to the, for me anyway, the color psychology, and, the emotions that are tied to your brand. Like, what do you want your brand to represent? What kind of feelings do you want your brand to speak? So I think it's important to design a great brand that is memorable, something that, people are not going to forget. Or if they see it, they recognize who you are. Um, so it's very important to take the time, and that kind of goes back to defining your brand. That goes hand in hand. Designing a great brand defines your great brand, right? Number 8, to win big, you must play big. Okay. Taking those risks. It is very, I know it's hard. I know it's very hard to say, and it's very scary. to say, just put yourself out there and do what you need to do, but you have to. You have to. If you want to take, you have to see where things take you. And sometimes that is taking risk. Um, you have to play big in order to win big. And sometimes you may not win big right away, but as long as you're playing, as long as you're in there, you're trying, you're putting everything you can into it, something's going to take eventually. It might not be as soon as you want it to, but it will happen. It will happen. Number 9, have a support system. And sometimes this is very hard because a lot of people do not have that structure. They do not have that support system. And a lot of people are doing this alone. And it's very unfortunate, but that's where the networking comes in to play. That's where you need to kind of like, okay, I don't have support from, family. I don't have any friends or any friends that support what I'm doing. So you go to networking events and go to, different seminars and different conventions and things of that nature that either tailors to business, entrepreneurship, networking, and go out there and find your people, find your community, and start building upon that. And hopefully you can find the support system that you need um, to help you move forward. But don't lose any type of momentum just because you don't have a support system. It will just be harder for you. And believe me, I completely understand when it comes to support. Having a support system, I can say I just really started having an abundance of support. Um, but it wasn't always like that. So I completely understand. Number 10, continue learning and growing. And that is I think the one of the major things is this, no matter how much you know about your industry, you're going to continuously learn and continuously grow. You need to continuously study your field, your industry, and grow with it, because you may know something, but times are changing, times are moving fast, and it's not going to always be what you thought it was. Things are going to always elevate and change, and you have to be a part of that, or you will not be successful, in my opinion. You're just going to fall. As you can see, a lot of retailers, like I believe like Kmart, and a few others, they did not change with the times. They did not move when the world was moving. They kind of stayed in their own little bubble, thinking that they were going to just have, you know, and even though they did have some loyal people go, but guess what? The younger people are getting older, and so you want to tailor your brand and tailor everything to generations up to come. You want to continuously be on trend, unfortunately. But that's how it is. You might be, you have to kind of not always be comfortable. You have to be uncomfortable from time to time, and sometimes change is uncomfortable, but you're going to have to grow with society. You have to learn what's new, what's trending, what's popping, all the things, and figure it out. You got it. Number 11, be consistent always. Be consistent, even if it's given 20 minutes a day within your business. I know it's not a lot of time, but as people who are working regular jobs and trying to fund their projects and businesses with their income coming in on top of taking care of home, making sure everything is cool, you have to at least put some time into your business. It's a must. Into whatever your projects, your business, whatever you're trying to do, you have to put time into it. Sets That's where, time blocking comes into play, to be consistent with making sure that you are touching touching your project every day in some capacity. Even if it's just putting a post up, even if it's just going through responding to comments on a post that you put, or even if it's just, writing down a few ideas. It's important to stay on track, be consistent, be persistent, do the things you need to do to get you to the next level. It's hard. Believe me, I know it is hard. Okay. But it has to be done. We can't say we want something and we're not working towards it and then get upset when time has passed because nothing came into fruition. Like we are literally, you know, not doing the work, but we want a reward for not doing it. So that's a mental thing too. We have to be consistent. We have to put in the work no matter how long it takes, we have to do it. And 12, share the real you. Don't put on a facade. You don't have to put on a show. You don't have to put on a facade. Be you. Be the best version of you. Um, you know, I always say there is no a lot of everybody. I feel, for me personally, I feel everyone has multiple versions of themselves. Every emotion, goodness words, every emotion is a version of you. And we want to come to our people, come to our community as the best version of ourselves. And be real, like be authentic. And, you know, I think that will definitely help you find your community when you come into a space being absolutely 100% raw and authentic. But of course, there's versions of you that knows, okay, this particular atmosphere isn't going to, you know, they're not going to be open arms to me if, let's say, for instance, cussing, right? I cuss. I cuss a lot. However, I know when and where, because I respect I respect people's spaces, and I always read energy. That's where I get, a lot of information is from people's energy. And I like to respect people's energy in their spaces. Everybody's not going to like certain things, which is fine. Everybody's not going to do certain things, which is also fine. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to, evaluate my surroundings, and I'm going to provide the version of me that fits that surrounding. It doesn't mean that I'm fake or I'm not being authentic. No, that's just a version of me, another version of me. I can be very laid back. I can be very crazy. There's so many different versions of me. It's crazy. But I also know how to read the room, and I know how to maneuver when it comes to personal or business or just, networking and just listening and speaking when I feel like it's time for me to speak. And that's more so of, I don't really like small talk. I like to have in-depth conversations. And so that's how I kind of deal with everything. But yeah, share the version of you. Okay. Share the version of you that you want to share. Okay. Which is also the real you. I hope you got some stuff out of this. I think these are wonderful tips. I think these are very worded very well. It's very, I wouldn't say simplistic. Well, yeah, I can say simplistic. It's very, to the point, and I appreciate this. And I got this off Pinterest, y'all. Look at me, okay? Giving you resources, giving you something to think about. But yeah, I'm so happy you tuned in. I really appreciate it. Now, you can join us, Mom Boss Talk Radio, on Facebook. Go ahead, join the conversations. It's amazing over there. We're also starting in Instagram, and we'll be posting more over there as well. And we have some other great things going on, and it's so exciting. That's what elevation does, people. That's what elevation does. But yeah, we are moms on a mission to empower moms all over the world. Remember to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. You are making moves. You got this.
Thank you for joining us on Mom Boss Talk Radio. Follow each of the Mom Bosses on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you love Mom Boss Radio, visit the website at www.envisionedbroadcasting.com. We'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.